It's 3:30 a.m., and I am drunk biking, or as I affectionately referred to it earlier in the night, bunk driking, and I feel as if I am both literally and metaphorically on top of the world, and I can say this now with some degree of certainty. I am important, and I have a purpose. Kind of like Jesus, but less about eternal salvation and more about fart jokes. And I know that someday I'll be the voice of not only my generation, but generations I'm not even a part of. The Greatest Generation, Generation X, Star Trek, The Next Generation. Why nobody else seems to have caught on makes no sense to me. It's like if the Beatles sung Hey Jude and nobody else was like nah 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 nah. My mom always used to keep a box in the basement labeled Afghans, and after September 11th I started looking at it differently, and I'm confident that one day I will achieve a creative masterwork so complex in its brilliance that it'll make everyone stop in their tracks and say, shit, that motherfucker was poetic all along. And you might think I'm stupid now, but you know what? I'm gonna keep telling jokes, and one of these days one of them is gonna be funny, and you're gonna be so surprised you might even laugh. 30 minutes later, I'm sitting on my couch in my underwear watching the movie Braveheart and eating a corn dog. I'm not sure how this happened, and while I have a lot of questions to ask myself, like, why am I still alive? Where did I get a corn dog? And Braveheart? Really? I decided to move on, because learning from my mistakes is kind of not my thing. I guess this is kind of demonstrated by the fact that I'm not entirely sure whether or not I live in a landfill or an apartment. When I moved out of my mom's house, she said, "You're gonna miss me picking up after you," and as I gave her the finger and drove away, I didn't fully realize how big of a problem it would be. Yesterday I spilled cereal on the floor and I didn't even think about picking it up. I was like, oh, well that part of the floor has a new texture now. And it's the same with my character flaws. I don't really try and do anything about them. Maybe the solution isn't necessarily to embrace my problems. Maybe it's not healthy to get progressively more bitter as time goes on. Maybe other people don't find self-loathing as incredibly endearing as I do. Maybe I should grow up. You know, sometimes I think I'm growing up. And then sometimes I'll say the word peener. I'm 19, it's 2009, and I'm about to enter my 4th decade on this planet. Although I was only in the 80s for around 6 months, I'm still counting it because, trust me, I lived the 80s. I don't really remember a lot, but I've been told I was so fucked up I wasn't able to walk. I didn't know my own name, I was just crying and shitting my pants all the time, and then I think I was sucking on some girl's tater or something. It was really weird. But if that's not a party, I don't know what is. I live in Boston's Chinatown, which is cool until they decided to celebrate New Year's at 9 a.m. on a Sunday in February when I was hungover. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love dragons and firecrackers and shit, but not in the morning. That's just inconsiderate. I was really thinking about going out there in my pajamas and being like, guys, come on. But that's the thing I like about the Chinese. They wouldn't have given a fuck, and I respect that. Like, one time I was walking down the street and I look over and I see that the homeless guy walking next to me is also peeing at the same time. He's peeing and walking. And I think I've learned more from that man's frigid exposed penis than most books that I've read. Because he did his own damn thing. He wouldn't let thousands of years of conventional bathroom wisdom get in his way. He probably had shit to do. And he had to piss. And he didn't give a fuck that he was peeing on his pants slightly. That man was a renegade. I go to Emerson College. Although when anyone asks me, I say I go to a school in the Boston area that may or may not be Harvard. I'm not lying. I mean, I directly address the possibility that it's not Harvard. It's not Harvard. Everyone that goes here is artsy-fartsy, and I'm just fartsy. And I go to film school, but my directorial style is still best described as, hey you, hold this lamp. I got a D- in videography in high school because I turned in a video of me lip-syncing to Jay-Z's 99 Problems after my teacher insisted that that would be a terrible idea. But you know me, I'm not going to let my artistic vision be hampered. And I guess it's kind of ironic that I'm here for a number of reasons, but mainly because I've never really applied myself. I didn't show up to high school all that much. I kind of just spent that time jerking off and playing Halo, and where did that get me? I'm not very good at sex, and if there were an alien invasion, I don't really think I'd be all that helpful. They'd probably make me answer phones or something. I can compromise on some things, like I may not be nearly as handsome as my grandmother has been telling me all these years, but I know a few things for absolute certain about myself. 1, I'm not a jerk, even though it might seem like that at times. 2, I love to cuddle. And 3, I'm funny, and at some point I'd like to get paid for it. And it's not like I don't know how tall of an order it is to do something like this professionally on a large scale. I mean, it dawned on me recently that there's probably at least one douchebag at every party who says the phrase, "That's gold, somebody should write that down." And I guess I'm banking pretty heavily, perhaps unjustifiably, that I'm the one douchebag that's right. Either I'm going to be incredibly successful or incredibly homeless. There's no in between, because I'm not just any idiot. I'm an idiot with a colossal sense of self-importance, and if I fail, I'm going to fail big. You're either going to be watching me on TV, or be weirded out that I'm walking and peeing at the same time. And right now, I'm a little shocked that no one seems to be nearly as impressed as I am at how unimpressive I am. But I know people are going to catch on. I like to describe myself as a pessimistic optimist, where I think tomorrow's going to suck, and the days after that are going to suck, but one day, things aren't going to suck. And there's not a lot of logic behind it, other than I feel that it's something that's going to happen. And as long as I don't wind up trying less than I currently do, things are going to work out. You know, I used to look at porn before I knew how to masturbate. I would just sit there for a little bit, and it was pretty anticlimactic. And every day, I wish I could go back in time and say to myself, just touch it. Just touch it. It's not that hard of a concept to understand. And it makes me think, what am I not learning today? What's right in front of my eyes that I'm not recognizing? It's gotta be something. Maybe not as obvious as a boner, but something. Maybe I shouldn't walk down the street eating a burrito. I get back and I put down the burrito, do homework, put away the trash, masturbate, change my status to nobody loves me on Facebook, masturbate, play Rock Band, watch TV, take a shit, take a photo of myself, change my clothes, masturbate, and then I leave. I bet a psychiatrist could make a lot out of the fact that I so desperately seek approval from the opposite sex. It's really hard for me to walk down the street because it reminds me of the fact that there are so many beautiful women in the world that I'll never be able to call mine. If I were a superhero, my superpower would be unrequited love. I was at Buffalo Wild Wings recently and I saw this couple. They were like 35, and the guy was just passed out at the table. I think he was snoring, and his wife was just lovingly playing with his hair. Even though he was snoring at a restaurant, she was still really happy to be with him. And I think that was the most romantic thing I've ever seen, and I want that more than anything because I've never had it. So far, the most romantic thing anyone's ever said to me is, I don't have to be drunk to want to have sex with you. And I've lived my entire life assuming I'm the charming protagonist that gets the girl in the end, but maybe that guy's somebody else and I'm not even in the movie. I mean, the only thing that all the women I've dated had in common is that they didn't seem to like me very much. I like to think that I'm Charlie Brown, and Lucy's every girl I've ever dated, and the football's my money. One time I made out with this girl at a party, and I gave her my number and told her to call me the next day, and she called me to tell me she wasn't interested in me and didn't think that it would work out. And I like to think she got the two things all women want but can't have both of. One, to break up with me, and two, to never have dated me. And I just want a girlfriend so goddamn bad, and I can't seem to get one. Maybe it's because I don't like myself, that I just want to take the easy way out and get somebody else to do that shit for me. Maybe I reek of desperation. Maybe I should wear deodorant. If it weren't for the fact that I'm a complete and total attention whore, I probably wouldn't be very social. I'm a lot more comfortable around Wikipedia than I'm around people. I try to be as cool as Fonzie, but I end up being more like Fozzie, the bear, you know? Waka Waka Waka, the Muppet who told on funny jokes and people threw shit at him. I mean, I really only have 2 weeks worth of funny material and then it just gets pretty anti-Semitic. I used to be like Eddie Murphy in Raw, but now I'm like Eddie Murphy in Norbit. Where did my edge go? Christ, I'm 19 and I feel like I'm losing my edge. What's wrong with me? Will I ever be the person I so desperately need myself to be? When will I stop sitting on the sidelines making cynical comments at the game of life? When will I be better at metaphors? The world is passing me by and what do I have to show for it? I'm not happy. I don't think I've ever been happy. I could be getting blown by Scarlett Johansson on a log flume and I still wouldn't be happy. And the only thing that's ever made me close to happy is the pursuit of being moderately humorous. Sure, I'll put on this demeaning shirt, and sure, I'll dance for you, but that doesn't mean you've defeated me. It means I've defeated myself, and there's a difference. I didn't show up for a lot of high school, and I would tell people it was because I love to watch TV, but it's probably more along the lines of I was so depressed I couldn't move, and the only thing that's ever cheered me up was trying to cheer other people up. You know, I don't think it's a coincidence that I really started to be funny around the time my parents got divorced. I use humor as a self-defense mechanism, and I guess the fact that I'm trying to be funny all the time really emphasizes how terrified I am of everything. And the only good thing about that is that the best art comes out of misery. Van Gogh cut off his ear, but he fucking made Starry Night. If I were to ever kill myself, you could bet that my suicide note would be hilarious. And it's not that I haven't thought about it, it's just that I don't think I could do it for the same reason I can't walk into a room full of strangers, take a massive dump, and then leave. Not because I'm fundamentally opposed to it, but because I need to see the looks on their faces. I care more about getting laughs than my own happiness. It's kind of a paradox. The only way to be happy is to be good, and the only way to be good is to be sad, and that frustrates me. I know what's wrong with everything. Capitalism is failing, there is no God, rainbows have nothing to do with magic, everything's just miserable, and I suck. I'm stupid, I'm mean-spirited, I'm not funny, and I'm not interesting. You're probably not even listening to me right now. You know why? Because I'm a whiny bitch. I don't need to make movies, I need a psychiatrist. I don't need anyone to love me either, because love doesn't exist. John Lennon was just on drugs when he wrote all that crap. I'm not important, I just have some mental health issues. It's not just that I'm miserable, it's that I'm doing it to myself. In kindergarten, when everyone was coming up with mean nicknames for each other, kind of like a council on mean nicknames, they were thinking really hard about what to call me, and then somebody goes, Alex Traynor, I got it, let's call him Lion Trainer. And I was like, Lion Trainer? That's awesome, I like that. If you wanted to come up with something mean, you just call me Potty Trainer. Damn it. The thing is, I can't even write anything anymore. I've been telling that joke for 12 years now, and it's never gotten funnier. I'm just cycling on old material. I'm afraid I won't be good anymore, so I won't let myself write anything down, and that's how I'm sabotaging myself. And when I do write, I write about how much I hate myself. It's a weird kind of narcissism. I'm my own biggest fan and worst enemy, and between these conflicting moments of self-love and self-hate, there's a deep sense of admiration, as though through all the doubt and delusion, I know somewhere that I am my own soulmate. And then, I see it. The leftover burrito from before, and I know immediately that I am full of shit. Happiness isn't something you can gain or produce through the creation of fart jokes. It's something you feel, and I'm feeling it. And I've felt it before, I just don't think I wanted to remember. When I get married, I'll think that that's the happiest moment of my life, but I know now that I'll be lying. This is the happiest moment of my life. Nothing will ever surpass the joy I feel right now, because I know now that I am capable of love, because I love this burrito. And maybe the only reason I was sad was because I was hungry. And if I can love this burrito that much, then maybe somebody can love me. And if I think my work is important, then it is important. Maybe only to me, but that's a start. And I'm not going to give up, because I've provided myself no other options. There's nothing else I'm more qualified to do than try haphazardly to entertain you. If you don't think I'm funny now, wait until I am. I'll get there, because I'm going to make it after all. Because love exists, and it's everywhere. There's no logic behind it, but I can feel it.